Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining another Release Automation Community Webcast. Today's topic is the SSL configuration with Release Automation 6.3. Today we have Sachin Srivastava on the phone. He's going to give the presentation. He's a member of the RA product team. If you have any questions as we're going through today's session, you can feel free to go ahead and put them in the Q&A box in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That way we can get to them when we pause, and Sachin can get to your questions as soon as he's done presenting his demo and everything like that. So we'll pause a few times throughout today's session for that. If you have any questions you'd like to ask over the phone, you can do that at the end of today's session. And once we get to the Q&A part at the end of the session, I will announce how to unmute yourself so you can ask those questions. I'm now going to go ahead and turn the call over to Sachin. Take it away, Sachin.
Hello, people. Good morning, all, and good evening, and whatever time zone that you are. Thank you for joining the webcast. So in today's webcast, I'm going to display the SSL configuration, how to do the SSL configuration for RA involving management server and execution server. So currently, as I'm sharing my screen, and as you can see, that I have a RA which is currently configured with SSL, and for this particular webcast, I'm going to do a self-signed certificate. I'm going to create my own certificate in my Windows box and use that certificate to configure SSL. So people who want to do SSL configuration, they can create their own custom key stores and custores, and they can use that certificate. But since I don't have a certificate available for my own, so I'm creating a custom certificates from me only, and I'm going to use that certificate in order to configure SSL. So basically, I've been talking with many customers all throughout, and they have a problem configuring SSL because they think it's a difficult configuration. That is why I'm more eager to show you, like, the configuration is pretty much straightforward, and if you follow all the steps correctly, you will be able to do the configuration as is. So generally, there are like 10-15 steps that you have to do, and if you do that correctly, you will achieve SSL configuration. So that is what I'm going to show you how to do that. And I have one more server like this available, which is on 6.2. So this is currently on 6.2. I have another server which is on 6.2, and I'm going to make this server SSL connectivity through. So, and basic testing I'll do for communication between my management server and execution server, and just show you connecting it with the Jenkins box just to make sure that everything works. So basically, when you create a DevOps pipeline, we do a CD/CI integration. So for CI tool, I'm using Jenkins to have a small code, and I integrate it with RA. So I'm using the HTTPS version of the URL. So I'll be using the HTTPS RA URL to just create a deployment plan. Just nothing, just a basic testing. So let's start with the configuration. So as we all know, as you can see in the PPT that is shared. So let me just open the PPT here so that we'll have more idea. So in the PPT, if you see the introduction part, what are the components that is getting involved. So there is management server that you have to make it SSL. Then you have to have execution server that you have to make it SSL as well. And then if you want, you can make agents also SSL, enable agents SSL communication as well. But since number of agents would be a huge number, and it is a manual work that is currently it is not automated. So currently the SSL configuration has to be done manually. So if you want to do a SSL communication between your management server and execution server, then it's a straightforward process, and it's a small process because you have to repeat this process again and again. But if you are doing it for all the agents, so if you have like 1,000 agents and all, so you have to do it 1,000 times. So that is a lot of work that I see, repetitive work, but it's actual work that you have to do. So for this demo only, I'm going to show you because I have only 1 hour time frame, so I'll be showing you the configuration between my management server and my execution server. So as shown at the start of webcast. So I showed you that this is my URL. Like this is my server which has SSL communication established. And for this, I have one execution server available. And I've already made it HTTPS enabled. So I have another server which I'm going to do exactly the same. So the prerequisite part is that you need to have a certificate available. And if you don't have certificate, you can generate your certificate. But the self-signed certificate, I think it's for 6 months only. So you have to keep on generating it and adding it. So self-signed certificate are also not recommended. I'm doing it because I don't have it as of now. But if you see the self-signed certificate here, you'll see it says it's not secured one. So when you do it at your company level, at your customer level, then you have to make sure that it's secured and it's signed, it's company-wide signed, it's approved, etc., etc. So I'm going to start with the demo. So now, as shown in the PPT, so there are like multiple components of RA that require security and that gets involved during SSL enablement. So there is a release automation center or automation studio that is part of your management server. So we are going to make these SSL enabled. Then there is a command line interface. I'm not going to show you all the things. I'll show you a few REST API calls as well. How the only difference with your current REST API call and your SSL enabled REST API call will be the URL change. And many people don't use the exact server URL. They use the load balancer or any other thing. So actual change will be the server name and the port number inside your load balancer, whatever. So I'm just going to show you what change that you have to do after you have enabled SSL as well. So we don't support database security because database part is totally up to the infrastructure guy who is maintaining the database. So we make our components, like the RA components SSL enabled, and we don't do the integrated component like database or anything. We don't require that to be SSL enabled. So as you can see here, so we have execution server, we have agents, we have ActiveMQ. So how the management server communicates with the execution server is through ActiveMQ messages. So we have to make that part also SSL enabled. So there's a configuration that I have to do for ActiveMQ part as well, which I'll show you in the entire demo. Now, the first and foremost thing that we have to do is we have to start with the management server and we have to create certificates. So when like I have created a document here with this which has every step one step at a time what needs to be done. And the best practice that I recommend it to my customers is note down each and every point in a text pad and only note down the command. Rest, what this command is doing is mentioned in the document. So just open a document in one tab and open this notepad in the other tab and start doing executing the commands. So people who have their own key stores and trust store, they don't have to execute this command because these three commands, I am executing it because I don't have a custom key store available with me, so I have to create my own. So I'm just creating one step at a time. Now, the common error that a customer faces while creating a custom or while importing the certificate is the Java version. So in any normal machine, there will be Java installed and then there will be RA installed. So RA comes bundled with a Java. So that if you want to see your local Java version, you can just simply type in your command prompt Java version and it will show you the version that is installed in your box. And then there is so in this case, the version that is installed on my machine is 1.8072, and then there is a JRE that is bundled inside the RA. So I just check the version. So make sure that the version of the Java that is bundled inside RA and the version of Java that is in your machine that you have installed on your machine is the same while you are configuring all the things. So if it is not changed, then there is some problem that comes. So this is one of the starting problems that a customer face while doing the SSL configuration is the Java version is not same. So make sure that Java version of your machine and Java version of your release automation server is same. So release automation is installed under program files, or if it is a Linux box, it's pop release automation server. Just check it out. There will be a GRE folder inside your release automation server installation folder, and inside that there will be a bin, and just check the Java version. So you can simply go there and check the Java version. So that make sure that it is exactly the same. So I have mentioned this in the document as well. So just make sure that few basic pointers that the Java version, the JDK version is there in the path. It's exactly the same Java GRE version that is there in the release automation server. So that is one of the prerequisites. So if you follow the document, take one step at a time, you will not face any issue. So let me just create my own certificate. So I'm creating my own certificate, and the default password that I use for this demo is change it. So the password for this demo is change it. I have mentioned in the document as well. So if you follow my document, my default password for every keystore, presto, JKS file that I create is change it. So I belong to CDBU. My organization name is CA. I love Chicago, so I'm writing Chicago. So I've created my own certificate. So I'll be creating multiple certificates at this time. So, excuse me. So as of now, I'll be having two custom keystore created here. So on a similar front, I have to create a trust store as well. So let me just import this certificate. So these are the basic commands which will create a custom keystore and trust store. So let me just execute the command. Default, the demo is change it. And let me create a trust store from this certificate. So I have a keystore and trust store created for my SSL configuration on my management server. So just to verify it, I'll just go to my conf and see that there is two JKS files with keystore and trust store created. And when you go back to your release automation server, there will be a certificate file that will be created. So let me just. So there will be a certificate file that will be created. Now, next step would be to add the certificate into Nolio JKS. So as you know, like under conf, there will be a Nolio JKS file. Nolio comes with their own JKS file inbuilt. So we cannot override this JKS file. Don't ever override this JKS file, because if something goes wrong, you can't revert back. So it's better that when you do an SSL configuration, you take a backup of this release automation server when you are doing SSL configuration, so that if anything goes wrong, you can you have time to revert it back and try from scratch again. So I made sure that the certificate is created here, and made sure that the JKS files are available over there. Now the next step is I have to create my own nolio.jks. So the key tool basic command to create nolio.jks, I'm using that, and I'm just going to create my own nolio.jks file. And again, default password is change it. So I'm going to do that, and it's added. So after this, I want to make sure that this nolio.jks is wrapped in a jar, and this is the jar that I'm going to use in my Nolio apps lib folder, which will enable my SSL for my management server. So in order to do that, I have to first stop my management server. So I'm just stopping my management server. There is no need to stop agents. Let the agents be running. It doesn't matter for as of now. So as you see here, I have a nolio.jk file which is created. Now I'll just copy. This is only for me. I'm doing this because I have to I don't have that jar channel as all installed in my VM. So I'm just copying the JK file and creating a jar channel here. So in my this is my Linux box where I'm copying this jar JK file and executing the command. So let me just open my this. You don't have to actually do this if you have jar channel and a jar command execution available on your the Windows box. You can directly go there and execute it. So let me just create a jar. And always make sure that the Java version is same wherever you are executing the command. So after jar signing, I'll just I have to have this custom demo trusted also copied over there. So let me just copy this. This is not a mandatory step, so this is not required for you. So I'm just because I don't have that command in like the exe to execute that, so I'm just using another server for the same. It will just take a minute. So next step is to sign this jar, and the password is change it. Yes. So if you see the signature certificate will so if you paid a self-signed certificate, it's only for 6 months and it will expire after 6 months. So just to be sure that whenever you create your own self-signed certificate, it is only for a limited period of time. So I'm done with this. And let me just download the jar. Yeah. So this is done, and uploading this jar file back to my server. So now you have to copy this jar to your web apps, Nolio app. So this is a Tomcat server. So RA comes, if RA is installed over Tomcat, so Tomcat will have a web app folder. In fact, that there will be a Nolio apps. So web apps, and there will be a Nolio app. Then this is the app which is using where all the libraries are there for loading RA. So I'm just going to add my jar here. So as you see, the custom trustful jar is available in the apps Nolio app. Now, again, for creating SSL configuration, there are specific files that RA requires to be created. So one of them is the security customization.property, and this has to be created under installation conf folder. So let me just create a file. And the content, why is this file required? Because it contains the password for your for the trust store. So if you have a trust store and you have a password for that, you have to use that trust store password and store it in this custom like security customization.property file. Just to check it whether it's correct only. And make sure that there is no space. So the common problem that I have again seen with the customer that whenever they copy the password, they have an extra space in that, which always creates a problem while doing the SSL configuration, and they come back to me asking like, this is not working. So the first thing that I go and check is, I check this customization property file and check it if it doesn't have spaces and all or not. So this is the first debugging point that I have for my if I debug SSL configuration, the first point that I check is the security customization and check if there is any extra space or not. If there is an extra space, it will not work. And now, next part is I have to encrypt my password. So whenever you are using a written password which is not encrypted, it is best practice to encrypt it so that nobody can see your password and nobody can copy it and use it. So it is best practice, and RA comes inbuilt with a password encryptor batch file in Windows and script file in Linux. So you don't have to actually go anywhere to do the encryption of that particular password. So I'll just go here, copy this command, and just execute this command, and it will create me encrypted password. So this is as simple as that. So let me just copy this password, because this password is important, because this password will be used across all the configuration that I have to do instead of the actual password that is changed. I'll be using this password. So next up is make sure that all the folders are backed up so that you don't actually have to take another copy. So make sure that your release automation server, full release automation server is backed up. That if you want to do a configuration change, just open the file and do the configuration change. So next file that needs to be modified is catalina.properties, and inside that you have to add these two lines. So the document says add the line, but you can add the line anywhere. It doesn't matter where you add it, but make sure that it's not commented. The line previous, or it's the whole block is not commented. So the general preference would be to add at the end of the file, and you use the password that you encrypted. Right. So after this, the Catalina property file work is done. Now we'll open the server.xml. So in server.xml, as you know, there is a configuration for 8080 port, and as a normal Tomcat server, there will be configuration for the application that is getting deployed, or what port that is used. It's available in server.xml. And if you have any custom key stores that you want to add for a particular Tomcat server, you have to add in the server.xml. So I'm going to use 8443 port. So if you see here, there's a key alias, keystroke file, keystroke password. These are the three values that I have to modify, because when I created my certificate, I created with the alias name RA demo management server. So I'm just going to replace this with this word, and I created my custom demo keystore.jks. So I just instead of using nolio.jks, I'm going to use my own custom keystore.jks, and since I added my own JKS file in the library, so it is going to pick my newly created nolio.jks instead of the conf nolio.jks. Now this keystore password is the one that we added here. I forgot to mention that. So here what we are doing is we are adding a variable called keystore pass. So I'm going to use this variable inside my server.xml. So instead of the handwritten password, you simply go and take the keystore password that you have mentioned in the Catalina.properties and just save the file. So this file work is also done. So this is how you configure SSL on management server. So after this, just start a service and you have a management servers which is SSL enabled. And prerequisite again, so just delete the active MQ data, because active MQ, we have to establish new connectivity between execution server and management server as well. So we don't want any cache in between. So I'm just going to do that, and there is this log. Okay, so I have to remove this logs folder so that I can get a fresh log, and that's it. So I'm just going to start, and I will be having a server which is SSL enabled as soon as it starts up. Now, what to do when your SSL server is enabled? So since RA, it takes like 5 to 10 minutes to start up. So in the meanwhile, let's discuss what testing can be done for your newly created SSL management server. So basically, just log into your UI using your HTTPS URL. So basic testing would be to make sure that this UI is up and the launching, etc. is working, and there is no change in your deployment plan, there is no change in your number of applications, total number of agents, because as soon as your management server is up, the internal components are not SSL configured as of now. So all the communication internally would be happening via 8080 as well. And from 616.4 or 6, whatever port that you're communicating between your agents and execution server. But as of now, your management server is SSL enabled. So rest of the components still work on HTTP. So in order to test only on management server, just make sure that UI is running and make sure that all the agents are connected well, and make sure that your Automation Studio is opening correctly. So just make sure that your Automation Studio is opening. So just share a link, and before opening your Automation Studio, just make sure that in your local the web start, because GNLP file, you will be having multiple GNLP file downloaded. Just make sure that your Java WS cache is cleared, webster cache is cleared. So the command to clear is just as simple as Java WS install, and it will clear it. And then maybe you can open another GNLP file and just check it out whether everything is loading correctly or not. Just make sure that you go to each and every tab. So after SSL configuration, the most important part is testing. The more you test, the more you come to know what is missing. So my recommendation would be follow the process that is mentioned in the document. Just then keep on testing, or in some cases do a deployment. So this is a fresh server that I have, so I don't have many deployments here. So I cannot test the deployment process, but it is mandatory step that once your management server is up and that is SSL enabled, you just test your deployment process. So after this, the management server is started up, let's start configuring our execution server, because we want the execution server as well ready once your management server is up. So for this demo, if you see here, the management server for this particular automation for my management server, execution server for this particular array is this server. So I'm just going to log into this 7502, and I have to do the same process of creating custom certificates, because again I don't have certificates available. If you have certificates available, just put it under conf directly, and you will start working and do the basic configuration that is required. So again, now this is for my execution server. So just make sure that the alias name that you keep a note of that alias name, because that is the alias name is the one thing that you need to use it multiple times. So I'm just going here and just executing the command. And if you see the command, I'm using the release automation JRE bin key tool. I'm not using the key tool that comes inbuilt with the Java which is installed on your machine. I'm using the one that is present in a release automation server. So I don't want to have any problem while creating custom certificate which is not matching my array. So general practice would be make sure that Java is same. If Java is not same, use the JRE for JRE which is inbuilt with release automation server. So let me just execute this command. So I'm again on a similar front, that the way I did it on my management server. I have to create the custom key stores and trust stores, and the password again is change it, and my name, my DUCA, and I left Chicago again. So again, this certificate will be created for 6 months. And now I have to export and create a certificate file. So any custom certificate file that you create, just make sure that you remember the name, because this is the name that you are going to use it. So if you see here, my certificates are created. Let me just again change it. So the demo.certificate is created, and there will be a custom demo keystore file created as well. And also one important point is, once you are enabling SSL, it takes a lot of time for RA to load it for the first time, because it's configuring, it's using SSL configuration for the first time. So it takes maybe more like 2 minutes more than the average time RA will take to load. Not 2 minutes if you have like 16 or 32 GB RAM machine, so it will take lesser time for you. But if you have like 16 or like 10 or something like that GB or 8 GB machine for your RA, it will take a little more time to load. So now I'm going to start configuring my execution server. So I have added my certificates here. And now next thing is I have to make sure that the certificates are available in my JMS property file. So in each and every step I have mentioned that make a copy, but the best practice would be to copy the entire release automation server folder, so that you don't, if there is anything wrong, you have to revert it back to its previous state. So that is where I see it most useful is to copy the whole entire release automation server folder and do the self configuration. If anything goes wrong, replace the file. So I find it more useful. It's totally up to the customer. If they want to take a backup of the JMS property, they can take a backup. So next up is I have to change the JMS property file, and this is present under web apps, execution, web INF, JMS.properties. So here I have to add my own key store that I generated. So I have generated a key store file. So I need to add that key store file in my JMS.property. And the key store that I generated a certificate. So this certificate that I generated, ESDemo.crt, this has to be copied to your management certificate and added as a added to the trust store. So what happens is, like, whatever certificate you are creating on execution server, you have to place it on a management server and add this certificate to their trust store. So that is where how you will establish communication between management server and execution server. So it is a repetitive process, and you have to do this part on all your execution servers. So that is why it's I know, like, it is a more manual effort, but if you do this is a one-time manual effort. If you do this correctly, your whole application would be SSL enabled. So just just set the value of this key store as demo JKS. Just setting the value. Now, if you the next step that is mentioned in your document is to encrypt the password, but there is no password encryption badge available on your execution server. So the general practice would be to use the same encryption password that is encrypted in a management server. So I'm just using whatever password that I generated in my execution management server, and I'm using it in my execution server. So just go there, and instead of the GMS encrypted key store or password, I'm using mine. So my configuration for JMS property is done. Next part is next file that I have to modify is Catalina.property again. So Catalina.property and server.xml we have to modify on all your Tomcat servers, all your execution server, management server, because it's Tomcat, and we have to actually modify it. So I am opening the Catalina.properties, and which is present under my conf. And go to the bottom straight away and add 2 lines. That's it. Close this file. Again, key store password, I'm creating a variable key store password in Catalina.property, and I'm going to reuse that property in server.xml. Again, searching in server.html for 8443 port, and instead of these three values need to be changed from key, alias, nolio, JKS, and simply just replace it. If you are following my document, if you are creating your own custom key store, just replace it. It doesn't matter. But if you are creating your own custom key store, you have to make sure that all these variables are correctly written. Now, the one thing that I also forgot and the customer also forget is stopping the execution server while doing the changes to your server.xml Catalina.property. So make sure that your servers are down before you change the Tomcat server. These are important files for Tomcat server, so make sure that the servers are stopped. And after, let me just stop the server. And no need to stop agent, just stop the management server. Sorry, execution server. And let's just check what is the status for this management server, because on the first load post SSL configuration, it takes a lot of time to load. So it's still loading, so it will take some more time, I think. Just wait for a couple minutes. Okay, so now this server is down, and now I have to go and change the active MQ file. The active MQ file is again present under web apps, execution, WebINF, active MQ. So this is the file which has a configuration for SSL. And so, so before opening this file, make sure that you know the version of RA that you have. So RA version 5.5. Before 5.5, they will have these components commented out. So post RA 5.5, these components are not commented. So just make sure that the bean class with this string decryptor SSL password is not commented out. And again, there will be one more bean class just mentioned in the document itself. There is SSL context, MQ, active MQ, SSL context is also not commented out. You just check if active MQ, SSL context is not commented out. Just make sure that these portions are not commented out. Now, when you open the ActiveMQ XML file, under transport connector, there will be a logic for transport connector using HTTP, and there will be a comment written just before that uncomment the SSL connector below and comment the open wire connector. So this is for HTTP, and this is for HTTPS. So what I have to do is comment this out and uncomment this. It's written here itself. In order to be 100% sure, it's written here. So this is the actual file that you have to modify. Just save it. So now we are, as per the document that I have, we are all set. And just restart the execution server. So these are the steps that you have to follow to make your execution server SSL enabled. And if you follow this steps one at a time, you will not be facing any problem. Now, here you don't have to create any knowledge JKS or anything, because already we are creating only key store files and we have added that key store. And what we are doing next is we are copying this certificate file from the execution server, and we are going to place it in management server. So it has to be available at your management server release automation server installation directory. same place as your management server certificate was present. So as you can see here, my management server is loaded. So just opening this with HTTPS and 8080 instead of 80808443, and you will get, since I'm not using a certificate which is verified, I'm using a self-signed certificate, so I'll be getting this error. But I'm just proceeding because I know like I've created the certificate, so the URL will be good to go. So just click on launch, and so you have your management server now SSL enabled. Currently agents are offline because execution server is down, and I'm going to restart the execution server. Just make sure that this ActiveMQ data logs that is deleted. I started it, so it's not deleted now. But make sure that these basic things are deleted before you are restarting the server, so that there is no cache behind. And again, I'm just doing a Webstar install, and let's see how much time it takes for the execution server to get back up. Now, next testing that you need to do once your management server is back up is open your ASAP, and I'm just opening my ASAP. You see the downloading application is also done via HTTPS mode, not HTTP anymore. Now, this is a common error that I get when there is something wrong with my Java version. So I'm ignoring this, and let's just go here, and because I'm on, this is the GA version. So GA version, there was a problem where the certificate for Java got expired, and we have a patch also available for this. So once you apply that patch, you will not be facing this problem. So like this is, if you go here, this is the GA version, so this will not be having that patch enabled. So once you install that patch, you will not be facing these problems. And let me just stop this, because this is also running, this is running on HTTP 8080. So if you see here, normal thing, like the URL will be working with HTTP, and the URL will be working with HTTPS as well. So if you want to disable this 8080 port, you can do that as well. If you don't want people to log in with your HTTP, you can do that disabling as well. So let me just try it one more time. Let's see if this works. Okay. Let's see. So I'm going to show you using this 8449 only. That is because I'm getting a dark and error. So I'm just opening this just to be 100% sure that all the things are correctly installed. So again, HTTP 8449, everything is HTTPS only, and I'm opening it. Okay, so just running it. Just make sure that your URL is loading and your ASAP UI is also loading. Now, the next step is map your execution server and your management server. I'm just waiting for my execution server to load because I just restarted and it's still not loading. So anytime whenever you do a configuration, it takes a little more time to load. So just waiting for it to load. Okay, so there is something wrong that is done in your configuration. So common errors that generally we face is that the commenting miss or something like that we missed during the configuration. So the debug part is pretty much straightforward when you open the debug mode. When you open the log file, it will say that your could not accept the connection from null, or it says unrecognized SSL message. So simply that you have the custom certificate that you have created is not correct. So you have to again stop the server, create a new custom certificate. I'm just checking if it is because of the cache that this issue is coming or not. So let me just stop this again and clear the cache. And let's check for this clock why this error is coming for 98. Okay, so it says that it's not signed by the same certificate. Maybe I copied it incorrectly. So whenever like this problem occurs when you are on Windows Server and you have not jar runner and jar not installed. So this is a problem that you face during your installation. So if I do it on Linux machine, I will not be facing any problem. But since I'm doing it on Windows box, so I'm facing this problem. So let me just stop it. And since I don't have I have 11 minutes left, so I cannot even show you the debugging part. So let me just go on with my demo and everything. If you follow the document, it's all as is. If you follow the document, it's going to be that if you follow the document correctly, then you won't be facing this problem. So just making sure that everything clear here. So let's just start and let's see if this error doesn't come on here. So I think it's 10 minutes left. So anybody having any doubt as of now?
So if you guys have any questions, you can enter them into the Q&A box. Or if you'd like to ask a verbal question, you can click #6 on your telephone keypad to unmute yourself. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any questions as of right now. Oh, okay, Max says that he has a question. Just give him 1 second. Okay, Max, no problem. Okay. Max asks, let me just open it up. I want to download artifacts from an HTTPS source. Therefore, I need to add the server certificate to the retrieval agent. Where would I place it?
You want to download artifacts from HTTPS source. So download artifact, the action that you will use is what action that you are using for downloading the artifact. That would be my first no action. So how are you downloading the artifact? Are you using the Nexus inbuilt repository? Are you using the Nexus inbuilt repository, which comes inbuilt with RA or standalone Nexus? So where is just an HTTP artifact? So yeah, it will work because artifact, if you want to download with an HTTP artifact, so can you give an example, like what is the URL that you're using? Are you having your own management server?
Max, if you'd like to ask your question on the phone, you can click #6 too.
Okay.
If
Yeah, this will work. You don't have to import any. You don't have to import any certificate. It will work, I think, because if you are downloading the artifact, download artifact will work just the way as it's like. If you want to use it using action class in RA, you can do that as well. We don't have to import any certificate. Because you are the certificate, it's not dependent upon certificate when you are using HTTPS. If you are doing a wget or getting a data from any other artifacts, so you are just calling that particular REST API. So the API for downloading the particular WAR file, that has to be HTTPS, has to be enabled on that, and you don't have to actually have to accept certificate on your agent. And maybe like I'll do more research and I'll get back to you on a more concrete answer. As of now, I don't think so you need a certificate. Any other question besides that? Okay. Sure. Maybe if you if you want to ask questions offline, then maybe I can help you with that as well. Sounds good. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Melvin is going to share my email address if you want. Yeah, through the communities as well. Like, yeah, I participate regularly in the communities as well. So.
Yeah, Max, you can @mention Sachin in the communities. Just do the @ and start typing his name. Or if you guys are following each other, you can message him. Or I can also give Sachin your email that you registered with after the session today. So any of those preferred methods of communication will work. And that's so for anyone that has questions that you might think of them later, or if you rewatch the session later, you can always post those questions to the communities. You can @mention either of us. And, you know, even if you don't mention either of us, someone on the communities will get to your question. We have experts monitoring the site at all times just to make sure we can get you guys answers as quickly as possible. So you can post them as a question to the communities. You can comment on the recording when I post it later. There's definitely a bunch of ways to get in touch with us.
Yes, you can do that as well, yes.
Okay. Sachin, did you have anything else you wanted to show today?
Nothing else, but because I would be needing more time to go. And if you want to, people want to show the demo people want to know how to do a configuration for agent and execution server, so they can do that part as well. So it's present in my document. So it's a straightforward document, which if you want following straightforwardly, you won't be facing any issue. And just go through the document, and if you feel any problem using this document, just reach to me and I'll help you solve the problem.
Okay, and I'll post that document with the webcast recap later today.
Yeah, sure.
All right, well, thank you so much, Sachin, for a great presentation. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. As always, we have a poll up. If you could please help us out by rating the quality of today's webcast topic. Let us know what you guys thought. We love to take your feedback on these topics so we know where to aim when we're scheduling out future sessions. Other than that, the presentation from today, the document that Sachin just showed, and the recording will all be posted to the community later today in a webcast recap. I'll add a comment to the event itself once that's posted, so you guys can take a look at that later today. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to either of us on the communities or just post a question in the Release Automation community. And other than that, thank you for joining. We hope you join one of our future sessions. We do have a session coming up on the integration between release automation and dev test coming up. And we're also going to be scheduling out an office hours sessions, which is just a live Q&A chat on WebEx where you guys can type in your questions and get answers from our product experts pretty quickly on that. So that'll be posted to the Release Automation community later this week. All right, well, thank you everyone so much for joining. Thank you, Sachin, again for a great presentation, and I hope everyone has a great day.
And thanks, Melanie. Thanks a lot. Bye.